So, how can I be even more grateful for God's grace, and for the beautiful people He has put in my life? When you say even more, it presupposes something powerful. You already are grateful. You're not searching for it, it lives in you. Every time you affirm it, you stack gratitude on a real foundation. It's the difference between saying, I'm gonna be stronger, versus, I am strong. One is someday, the other is now. So, I had ADHD, I had bipolar, I had PTSD, I was molested, I watched a man burn to death, and honestly, man, sometimes it feels like I collected every diagnosis, every label, every acronym on earth. He laughs, not because it's funny, but because sometimes humor is the last shield we carry. I've always believed I'd never be able to fully serve in my congregation as a spiritual man, and as a black man, I always felt like I wouldn't be as good as my white competitors. Like I started life 10 steps behind, with a backpack full of bricks. He pauses. His voice shakes. It's a lot, man. A lot of stacked experiences. Tony doesn't interrupt. He listens the way only someone who has lived through pain can listen. I'm deeply sorry you had to experience those things, Tony says softly. No one should have to, but here's what I do know. You've been through spiritual pain. Yeah, the man whispers. Sure, that's different, way deeper than physical pain. Spiritual pain is what you feel when you experience injustice, real, unearned suffering, and you're an empathetic man, so you feel more than most. I still feel it, the man says. His voice barely holds. I know you do, Tony says. But here's what's true, David. I would never want you to go through any of that again. But I trust something higher than us, something bigger than our awareness. Because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, people who've faced intense spiritual pain often develop a level of strength, clarity, and compassion that nobody else can. He lets that land. When they finally break through, and look back at all of it from a distance, everything changes. He places a hand on David's shoulder. It makes you care deeper. It makes you feel stronger. It makes you love differently. It made you the man I'm proud to call my friend. The man looks down, breathing heavy. It made you beautiful, Tony says. And you can feel that. I'm not saying that lightly. I feel it, the man whispers. I went through things most people will never know. Tony's tone shifts, strong but vulnerable. And it wasn't until years later that I realized something. I didn't just survive. I was forged. He continues. You know what trauma does? It hypnotizes you. It convinces you that the pain is your life, that the worst moment is the whole story. But it's not. Those moments, when you zoom out, they're a tiny percentage of your entire timeline, not the memories, the actual moments. And yet they hit so intensely, the brain magnifies them. Tony pauses, but here's the gift. Those same memories can dim, fade, shrink, move so far back that you don't even recognize the version of yourself that went through them. One day you wake up and go, that doesn't even feel like my life anymore. Many in the room nod quietly. That's healing. That's grace. That's God showing up in the spaces you didn't even know were broken. The man takes a breath, shaky, emotional. I used to blame my brother for molesting me, but then I realized he made me the man I am. For 5 years, bro, I slept with my kids in my arms every single night. Every night, just so nothing bad could ever touch them. I became a badass father, a badass husband, everything. Tony holds up a hand gently. Stop for a second, the room goes silent. Do you hear yourself? You became a freaking incredible father. You broke the cycle. You turned darkness into protection. That's beautiful. The man tries to smile. His chin shakes. It's beautiful, Tony repeats. So take that in. My brother died of leukemia 20 years ago, the man says. So when the exercise said call someone from your past, I thought, how the hell do I call him? Do I write a letter, burn it, throw it in the ocean? He continues. So yesterday, during the blessing exercise, you said, think of your greatest moments. First thing I felt was my wedding. My wife, she was 21. We got married on the beach. Insane moment, man. Like a movie scene. You told us to intensify it, so I imagined more wind, more sun. It was wild. He laughed softly. Then my son being born. Then my daughter. Then suddenly, my arms shot out. My eyes were closed, and I leaned my head back, and I was holding a body. My brother's body. The room goes pin drop silent. And he was healthy. No cancer. Black hair. Full face. Tall. Strong. The best version of him. Tony leans forward. What happened then? We hugged. I kissed him on the lips. I buried my head in his shoulder. And I asked him to forgive me. He said, "No, I want you to forgive me." A wave of emotion runs through the room. It was real, the man says. It wasn't a vision. I felt him. That, Tony says, is healing. The man wipes his face. After he held me, there was a light behind him, and he walked away. Not dying, not fading, just walking into something beautiful. And based on my religious beliefs, what I experienced, it shouldn't be possible. It goes against everything I thought was real, but it happened. It was a body. I felt it. Tony nods slowly. You know, for all our beliefs about God, sometimes we forget God is not limited by our interpretations. He smiles. We treat scripture like it's a phone manual. Step 1, step 2, step 3, but God's bigger, deeper, wider. Too big to fit into 3 pages of human explanation. He laughs. We're like blindfolded people touching an elephant. One feels the tail and thinks it's the whole animal. One feels the trunk, one the ear. But God is all of it. He touches the man's shoulder again. And what happened to you? That was God. And bro, the man says, laughing through tears, I thought I left the room. My wife thought I left too. I told her, I did. I straight up teleported. Time traveled. Tony laughs loudly. That's because I'm intense. The audience laughs. No man, the man says. It's because this space, it's not a church. It's not a therapist's office. It's just, you, your energy, your intensity, your presence. Tony shakes his head, humbled. It's not just me, he says. It's us. It's this room, this state, this intention, this heat. Tony leans in, eyes soft but focused. You know what's wild? Man, some people spend their whole lives avoiding pain, running from it, numbing it, pretending it never happened. He shakes his head, but the people who rise, really rise, they do the opposite. He taps his chest gently. They walk through it, they face it, they let it shape them, not break them. He pauses. And you faced it all. David looks down, breathing heavier now. You faced trauma most people wouldn't even survive mentally. You faced loss, violence, loneliness, shame, identity struggles, faith struggles, family pain, cultural pain. Tony nods slowly. And despite all that, you still love, you still feel, you still show up. Tony's voice lowers, serious and steady. Do you know how rare that is? People think strength is lifting weights. But this, he points at David's heart. This is strength. David wipes his eyes. That's why your story hits so deep, Tony says. Not because of what you went through, millions go through hell, but because you didn't turn cold, you didn't turn hard, you didn't become the monster you met. He smiles. You became a father who protects, a husband who loves fiercely, a man who still prays, a man who still feels. He leans back, hands open. That's not brokenness. That's purpose being born. Music swells lightly in the background. Tony stands up slightly straighter, voice steady. You know what trauma does? It convinces you that it is your identity. He walks a few steps. You start thinking, I am the kid who got hurt. I am the man who fell behind. I am the one who is different. I am the one who never fits in. He stops, looks David directly in the eyes. But trauma is not your identity. It's an experience. A moment. A chapter. Not the whole book. He raises a finger. Your identity is who you chose to become after those experiences. He points at David's chest. And the man sitting in front of me right now, is someone who didn't quit, didn't numb out, didn't disappear. He became present. He became intentional. He became the one who breaks generational cycles. Tony smiles softly. You know how powerful that is? You changed the storyline of your entire bloodline. David's head tilts down, the weight of that truth hitting him. Tony continues, and let's be real, you carried all that without really having a safe place to talk about it. David nods. You know what loneliness is? Not being alone, but carrying a story that no one else knows. Tony pauses to let that sink in. And you've been doing that for decades. He sits back down. But now, something shifted in you. You finally let someone see your story. David looks up. That's why you felt your brother. That's why the vision felt real. That's why your body reacted like it did. Because when the soul finally feels safe, the healing begins on its own. Tony lifts his hands gently. You know, we spend so much time debating religion, doctrine, interpretation. He smiles. But God rarely speaks through words. God speaks through experience. He points upward. The moment you felt your brother's arms around you, that was God. The forgiveness you felt, that was God. The healing, God. The release in your chest, God. The peace afterward, God. He chuckles lightly. People always say, God doesn't he talk to me? I'm like, bro, yes he does, you're just expecting him to sound like Siri. The room bursts into soft laughter. But God whispers in emotion, in images, in intuition, in those moments that bypass logic and hit the soul directly. He nods. And you had one of those moments. Tony shifts into teaching mode, calm, powerful. Let me tell you something fascinating. When you revisit trauma in a safe emotional state, the brain literally rewires the memory. He taps his temple. It softens the pain. It releases the grip. It changes the emotional charge. He continues, when you re-experience that moment with your brother, but this time with love, forgiveness, and peace, your brain replaced the traumatic memory with a healed version. He points again. That's not imagination. That's neuroscience. That's the body healing. He lowers his voice. That's why it felt real. Because the effect on your nervous system was real. David takes a deep breath. So what do you think it meant, he asks. Tony answers immediately. It meant closure, forgiveness, reconciliation, and freedom. He leans forward. You punished yourself for decades for something someone else did to you. You felt guilt for surviving. You felt shame for things that were never your fault. You felt angry, confused, guilty. He places a hand on David's arm. And last night, for the first time, your soul handed all of that back to God. David's eyes fill again. You didn't imagine your brother. You released him. And you released the version of yourself that was stuck in that pain. Tony smiles warmly. So let me tell you what happens now. You walk differently. You breathe differently. You show up differently. You love differently. He points to the ground. Because the weight you were carrying is no longer on your back. He points to the sky. And the grace you feel now, that's not going away. He spreads his arms slightly. You're stepping into the life God had for you from the beginning. Not the life trauma tried to give you. The life you were meant to live. He smiles. And bro, when a man heals at this level, everyone around him heals too. David nods, tears rolling. You didn't just forgive your brother. You freed yourself, freed your kids, freed your marriage, freed your future. Tony places a hand over his heart. And this right here, is where the real journey begins. Music rises. Camera slowly pulls out. Fade to black.